Hey everybody, this is Monkeypuzzle, and it's been a heck of a week for me in real life. I won't get into it, but I haven't had as much chance to record as I wanted to. But today I can, and I want to jump straight into where we left off last time with the bees, with the basic bee breeding. I've put some more apiaries in there to get ready for the day in our nice hillside here, and I've set up a bunch of bees that I want to try to breed. So we're going to do basic breeding, but on a big scale. Eventually, I want to do all the lines of bees, and I can't involve you guys in all of that because I think it would be too boring in a lot of ways. But I thought it would be useful to, especially for folks who haven't done it before, just to show the basic start of how to get some of your basic lines of bees. So today I want to get to industrious bees and imperial bees are our big goals, and there are a lot of bees that will come out of that. I think we can also do some heroic bees today, and I'll see what else we can get to. We'll get into this in just a few minutes. If you remember from before, we got this all set up. We hollowed out this nice hill in this autumn biome. Eventually there's going to be a bunch of tree breeding going on down here with these bees as well. We got our indexer and some of the basics set up to deal with our items, the centrifuge and the squeezer to make the honey, and the climatizer. And then in the back of the hill we pipe up all the the apiaries. We set up one prototype that you could see some action happening in right there. Right now we just got some cultivated bees going around and around in here, and you just saw the breeding to make the cultivated queen. I started some tropical bee hives up here, apiaries. There you guys, I just took a hit from them, but I've got my quantum suit helmet on, which is keeping me from actually being poisoned, but it doesn't stop that one little hit from them. So I got one, two, three of them going on here. Eventually I want all these to be tropical bees, but I actually need to go find some more. All the products are getting piped over here. The honey drops are getting pulled out and sent over to the squeezer and sent down into our honey tank down there. But I did the tropical bees because you can get this silky propolis from them. And if you centrifuge the silky propolis, you get these silk wisps, which are what you need to make the apiary's bee suit. If you don't want to take that little hit, or if you don't have quantum armor and you don't want to be poisoned at all, it nullifies all the effects from the bees. Also, the silk wisps are good for upgrading these kind of backpacks. The digger's backpack, the miner's backpack, and all the other backpacks that you can make. And they take them from 15 to 45. And playing Feed the Beast with all the number of unique items that you can get, it really helps do inventory management between the backpacks and the ender pouches. I actually prefer the ender pouches because if I die, I won't lose my items. And if I died with these and I didn't get them back, I would. These would all be in an ender chest somewhere, and even if all the ender chests were destroyed, the items would still exist out in whatever realm ender. They don't actually go to the end, but whatever realm that the ender chests and ender pouches store their stuff. But anyway, let's get straight into it here. So I've set up some stuff to do here to help move this along. So the first thing we want to do is, even though I've gotten to cultivateds and commons already, I want to show folks how to get to those, starting with some of your basic, they call them mundane bees. Apparently any two kinds of mundane bees bred together will give you common, and then the common you breed with them again to get the cultivated. But I've particularly seen people do it with the meadows bees crossed with the forest bees. So we're going to go ahead and do those. Now, you can never get new princesses, and so you can kind of think of breeding as breeding your princesses, and you add drones to them for different genetic changes to them. And it's a lot like basic Mendelian genetics, where you have two traits in them, and you got to combine them. And if you get them the same, they're pure, and if they're not, then they have some variation. I've gone through all the different bees I have, and you can see I have more forest drones here, but you can see even from the ones I collected from the wild, there's different traits. So these ones I picked because um, they say slow and slower for the most part for workers, and these are slowest. So it's a little bit slower. So as I do this, I'm trying to come up with the best results that I can out of these. So I picked these ones out of them because instead of being slowest, they're either slow, which is better than slower, I suppose. Um, these are slowest, but they already have some other traits in them. This one already has some cultivated in it, so I must have messed with this one already. And this one, I guess I crossed it with a steadfast, and it has a nocturnal trait. I want to see if I can get those into there. You can do a lot of what I'm trying to do with the genetic machines once I get them, with the isolator and the inoculator, and I forget all the names of them. We'll do another episode with those later. But you can also get a lot of that with basic breeding. So in what I'm trying to do here, this is basically your basic cross, right? Between, basically a pretty standard Meadows princess and a forest drone. And here we're going to do it backwards, a forest princess with a Meadows drone. And then as you go to the right here, I'm trying to do a little bit more. Like so in these ones, we got a pretty basic cross here. I did go through and try to pick the best I could out of the drones I had available. The princesses, I just have to use all the ones I have, because these will be all the princesses that I've got until I can go to the wild and get some more. So I just thought I'd work with all of them, try to improve them as much as I can. And see here on the right, again, I'm trying to get that nocturnal trait into here. What it means with nocturnal bees is right now it's nighttime and none of my hives are going. If I go ahead and sleep and turn it to day, the hives will be active, which is what we want. Now, if they're nocturnal, that won't matter. They'll work day or night. So eventually we want to get to the point where all our bees have the nocturnal trait. But for now, let's keep it simple. So let's go ahead and set these up. Let me see, I've got 5 hives in this row. I keep calling them hives even though they're called apiaries in this game, but we'll just use those words interchangeably in ours. So we're just going to go ahead and cross them like this, and we'll get a queen. And when we analyze this, we'll know our queen's traits. Right now, we can see some of that already, maybe because they were both analyzed before, but let's just let's see, get my little hand beelyzer out, and let's see, we'll put that, keep that out, and yeah, I've already got some honey drops in here. So let's just look at our queen real quick, and oh yeah, we want to get the beelyzer and see what she's got. So from that cross, and I guess we may not see the results until she makes her princesses and drones. But just for our own education, let's check out. She's got all the same traits here. Basically, she's got a shorter lifespan, slowest speed, which is not the greatest. That's how many products they'll make, basically, the slowest speed. Lifespan is how long they live, which isn't too consequential for us, although I heard if they have a longer lifespan, you will get a certain percentage more products. But the breeding will happen faster actually with a shorter lifespan, so that sometimes that's advantageous. And this is for when we get into breeding the trees. This is what they need for pollinating. This is how many drones I think they'll give us. And this is their area effect, and if they have any other effects and so on. Ooh, I got bit by a tropical bee. Climate tolerances, we'll get into that in a minute, and then the special tolerances, the nocturnal, the flyer, that's if they'll work in the rain or any kind of weather, and cave is whether they'll work without being exposed to the sky. And I might want to turn off this backpack for now because yeah, And eventually I'll do this with Apiary's suit on so I don't get that little annoying little chunk. But so let's put her back. And I should get frames in all of these so that I'll get more products. But let's go ahead and just set up all of these, and we'll come back later and see what we get. So, just a meadows princess in the forest. Oh, this is the forest cultivated drone. And over here, we'll put her with the another forest cultivated drone. And the last one, the drone that I already used the steadfast to get the nocturnal trait in. And we'll see if we're able to keep that in the end. Let's go set up the next line. We'll get through this process in this episode, but I'm just going to do some basic setup with you, and then we'll kind of really fly through the results as we go along. So let me get all these guys here. I'm just doing it manually rather than shift clicking. I guess I could go at this point. No, they're going to send them down there. Yeah, maybe if I put something there, I could. Nope, you're going to send them down there. Okay, so we'll just do it that way. And then we'll go set these up. So the first mutation we want to get out of these naturally collected bees, quote unquote naturally, it's feed the beast. So the first guys went in there. So this next row, it turns out we've got 6 crosses to do here. Let's use this. 6 crosses to do, and we got 6 hives in a row. So we'll go ahead and set these up. So pretty basic cross there, pretty basic cross here, and this one. Okay, so we've got some common in that one already. And common, like I was saying, is the first mutation we're going to get out of this. You cross the naturally found ones together, you get common, and then you cross that again, back cross that again, and we're going to work our way up to cultivated. And again, the nocturnal trait. So I'm going to let all these do their thing. I'm going to put frames in them as well so that we can go ahead and get the maximum products out of them while we do this, because that's all going to get us ahead too. I think I've got a setup in here in this project table where I can make impregnated frames by the many, and I've got lots of impregnated sticks that I made before in the carpenter back at the Savannah base. So I've got lots of that. I'm going to go put those in, and actually we have a couple other crosses we're going to set up, but let me just do these frames first since I've got that in my inventory. And I'll just do the first one to show you that the frames can shift click in. So it's pretty easy to set those up, but you can't automate them, but you can shift click them. Alright, I put frames in all of those hives out there, and all those impregnated sticks you saw was just enough to make them all pretty much out. Gonna have to make more, but we'll get into that process another time. You do that in the carpenter basically with seed oil, which I'm doing from wheat seeds, but I heard you get even better results from pumpkin seeds. So let's do a simultaneous experiment while we've got the meadows and the forest bees working on going through their life cycle. I also want to improve some of my cultivateds that I've already made, and these are the commons as well, because I've got all these queens or princesses that will be queens, so I need to be working with them as well. Some of these will keep as commons and cultivateds because we'll need them for breeding with other things later, but some of them we're going to turn into the imperial and the industrious bees, which are going to be a big part of our product production. So I've went through all of my different cultivated ones. Of course, the princesses I just have to take as is and work with as I can. This is something else we're going to do in a minute. But with these guys, and then I went through all my drones and tried to find the best ones. So you'll notice that these are all fast workers, which is what we want to get more products out of them. And then this one I've got a common. Actually, I don't think we need to save any commons. I'm not sure actually. We'll find out. But I have plenty of common drones for later if I need them. And this is oh yeah, this one actually got crossed with a modest, which comes from the desert when I was playing around before, not really knowing what I was doing. So one thing to think about when you do this is these all say fast worker as well. And when I pulled them out of my indexer, I found all the drones that said fast worker. But if you look at these in the Beelizer, you'll see that there's actually active and inactive traits, basically representing double chromosomes. And even though the fast is the active trait, there's a slowest in the inactive trait. So if I bred this, there's a 50-50 chance that it would get fast or slowest. So you actually have to look at them one by one in the Beelizer, because this is deceiving to just look at fast on this one. So all the ones that I have here, oops, in this one, ready to breed, they have the fast in the active and the inactive trait, I believe. So we have a much better chance of getting something good with them. So let's go ahead and refine all our cultivated and common princesses that we have right now. This one's a queen. I'm going to go ahead and put them in. And then this is some other stuff I'll get to in a minute. So let's go ahead, get them going. So we've got that line going, that line going. Let's start this one. By the way, I've been a beekeeper in real life, so this is particularly interesting to me, although they're not nearly so easy to do. Oh, this is the one that I've been having going all this time, so let's go ahead and leave that one alone. And we'll go ahead and put those in there. So we're getting a lot of different breeding experiments going on, so we're going to get a lot of results in the end here. Hopefully we'll be able to fit this all in. Oh yeah, she's already a queen, so the breeding's not going to happen till the next time. And then the last bit of experiments I want to set up here in our breeding thing. I've looked at some bee breeding charts, which some people may consider a little cheater, but there's so many different kinds of bees and so many different results you can get to that if you don't have some sort of guide, you're gonna be pretty lost. I did some random breeding before, and I was basically just breeding in the dark and kind of messing up my bees actually. And since you don't get more than one princess out of each cross, you got to keep your queen straight. Otherwise, you have to keep going back to the wild and get more, which they're out there for sure. So I'll put links to some of the charts I think are good in the description. You can check that out. But what I haven't done is I don't know a lot of the products that I can get from these, so that's going to be a mystery to me still. And I'm also considering probably just doing the tree breeding without looking at the charts as well. But I just wanted to know a little bit of the direction I'm going here, and there's so much you can't really memorize it anyway. But I did find out that if you cross steadfast and valiant, that you can get what's called a heroic bee. And I think there's one step in the line to that. Let me look that up real quick. I'm looking at the chart here. No, I think actually I can cross them and get straight to heroic, and they have a heroic effect. And I'm trying to get out of here. There we go. I don't know what a heroic effect is going to do, but let's go ahead and set those up in this bottom row down here. So this one we're doing the steadfast with the valiant, and these also have a nocturnal trait that hopefully we're going to get just through straight breeding without doing the B&A machines, which we will get to as well because they're just too useful for customizing your bees exactly how you'd like them to be, but well, I guess pun intended there. But I want to get into as skilled as possible with just the basic breeding before I get to the genetic machines. And we're getting quite a bit of bees going here. Actually, it's getting nighttime, so I think it's getting nighttime. Yeah. Oh no, it's about to be day. So actually only our nocturnals have been going. Wasn't really paying attention. And the last little setup here, I don't know if I should be going this far, but might as well, is I've got a whole bunch of marbled princesses you can see in the indexer because they're super common. And this is all marbled right here. And all these guys. So it'd be great to be able to use all these princesses. I think my intention here was to see if you cross the marbleds, and I've got a common here and another common. Oh, and I'm trying to. Why am I using that one? I'm using this one because it's got the nocturnal. I could use another straight common, but yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and do that one. I'm gonna see if you cross the marbleds, if you can get um, commons with them as well, commons and cultivateds. Because if you can, then I can go ahead and use all those princesses as part of my breeding thing too. Because otherwise, the only thing I think marbled is good for is you get to a line called the classical bees, and you can use them in there. So a whole bunch of bees going on. Look at all those particle effects. That's a lot of bees. And we're going to get a lot of flowers out of that too. None of these are automated yet. I'll pipe them all up later because I want to do this by hand. So let's dive into going through our first wave of results and see what we get. So, alright, we already got a common princess out of this one. So let's go ahead and just put a drone in here. I can't go into this level of detail. Oops, I gotta grab the drones. Those silly tropical bees. I can't go into this level of detail with each of these, but to do this right, you'll take each of your drones, check them out, see what the active and inactive traits are, and then compare them, and then try to go for the one that is most likely to give you what you want. I think both of these seem pretty identical. We got meadows and common, slowest and slowest. This one we got meadows and common, slowest and slowest. So yeah, it doesn't really matter in this case. So we're going to go ahead and back cross the common with the meadows, which is in all the naturally found bees are basically called mundane bees. So we're getting some comb as we go along here. I'm going to leave that one in there. And so I'm just going to go ahead and do that with each of these. So we got a forest princess here. I'm just going to kind of randomly do this as I go. Forest meadows princess. So we didn't get to common right away with those. I'm going to take a chance again just for the interest of this video. Oh, we got cultivated already. Wow. Okay. So that one I want to do something different. If it's already cultivated, I want to go ahead and take a cultivated drone and see if I can get that purebred. And then this one, we got a common already. And let's go ahead and back cross her with the meadows and see if we can get to cultivated with that one. I'm going to go find a cultivated drone, put it in here, and then we'll go through the next line of results. Okay, so there's the cultivated drone. I just grabbed it out of our purebred one down here. And then let's go see our next line of results. Remember, that one was, I forget if it was meadows with forest or forest with meadows, but this was the opposite. So we got a meadows princess out of that, and whoa, a whole bunch of that. So let's go ahead and cross her with common, since that's what we're going for here. And I can't put that back in there, so I'll just leave it in my inventory. This one, she's still meadows, and we got forest. Okay, we got a lot of fertility going on here, though. What I'm going to do actually from here on is I'm going to analyze each of these, check them out, and I'll put the right one in there. But I'll do that part off camera because it'll just take too long. But I want to make some educated decisions with what I'm going. Like this has a cultivated inactive, so that would already be our best choice. That one doesn't, and that one doesn't. So by looking at that, I already figured out that this is getting towards where we want to get to. So in this one, we've got a forest princess. We can see we already got a cultivated drone here, so I can go ahead and put that one in. And this one, meadows. And we got some commons. I'm going to check those out real quick. Okay, and then so I'm just going to use one of these commons. They both have common as their active. And then, can I stack them? No. And the forest as their inactive. So they're pretty equivalent. And then we got a forest princess. I'm going to check these out. And of them, I found out that this forest meadows and the forest steadfast both have the nocturnal trait as an inactive, so it's still in them. So I'm going to drop the steadfast and go for the forest meadows that has the nocturnal, and see if I can get to where I'm trying to go with that. I forgot to pay attention to the nocturnal trait up there. I'll go back and revisit that. So we got a common here, a common drone. I'm going to check these out and get back to you. Okay, and of the three, the one we want to use, common, as active trait, these don't have common in either of the traits. Actually still has the nocturnal as an inactive, so hopefully we can hold on to that nocturnal. I actually should revisit here whether we've got the nocturnal going at all up here, and it would be down here in these traits. So yeah, this one does have it as an inactive still, so let's just keep that in the mix. I'll put that one right there so I can keep that in mind. We're accumulating a lot of mixed drones here as we go along. I'm going to put it here just to think about it. The common queen, when she's done, we'll find out if any of these have kept a nocturnal. So I might have bit off more than I can chew with this episode with all this breeding, but or at least in a small amount of time, but you guys get the point how I'm going here. So we're going to get to cultivated with all these pretty quick. So let's see what we got down here. Alright, so we've got cultivated princess and cultivated drones. I'm going to check these out real quick now. Okay, and both of these are pretty identical. Now we're going to need to cross cultivated and commons to get to our imperial and our industrious bees. So we got to hold on to some of our commons too. I do have a bunch of common drones already like we saw before, so I'm not too worried about that. Moving on. So, oh yeah, that's our regular one. I should somehow mark that one. And then I got to look at these guys. This one has slightly faster pollination. That's the only one that gives an advantage over this one. So I'm going to put that one in there. And over here, we've got cultivated princess, cultivated drones. Do those all stack? They don't, so those are different. I'm going to figure out who to put with her. Okay, these guys are all fast. They got fast. So those are the ones to choose out of those. And then we're getting into our special traits again. These commons are still doing their thing. And I've got a little modest mix in there. You can tell by the by the parch comb. And our marbled queen is doing her thing still. And this, because we've hit nighttime, so let me make it day. Okay, and down here in this line, where I'm trying to just clean up my my cultivateds and my cultivateds and my commons, I've already gone through one iteration of it. I'm going to go ahead and do it again. And basically this takes a lot of fine-tuning in this row where, let me grab them actually, that will be helpful. And got to check them out each one by one. So in this one I've got shortest lifespan, but I've got fast speed. I got up to slow pollination here, no special traits. So yeah, basically I just have to kind of carefully go through here and get the best I can, and these traits will all improve when I get these up to imperial and industrious, but I just want to go ahead and start with the best line I can. So that one is fast, slower, whereas let's see if this one's any different. That one is fast, slow. So this one's slightly better. So that would be the one to use in this cross. And I'm going to go ahead and do that down the line with all these cultivateds and let's see, there's a couple common ones down here. Whoa, I got a tropical out of that. Oh, because you know the modest and the tropicals have a relationship, so get some interesting stuff going on there. Um, the marbleds have produced some common drones, so we are going towards common with the marbleds and actually getting all the way to cultivated. So that is actually turning out to be true, that the marbleds can produce commons and cultivateds as well. So I'm going to go through those step by step and analyze all them. Also down here with the Valiant Steadfast crosses, we can go ahead and see what's happening here. These took a little longer to die. I guess we got longer lifespans, so we got to put the princess in there no matter what. Let's check out 2 drones, and then I'm going to be running out of room here in my inventory. Have to start a chest with some of these products, these different bees we're coming out with. So let's check these out. So this one has Valiant and Steadfast, and this one, has Valiant and Steadfast. So this is pretty identical. We're going to go ahead and just put them back in there, and I'll go ahead and I can't put this back in here, but I can store it in there while this is going on. So just a quick look down the line. Yeah, I got Valiant and Steadfast still. These are all Valiants. I bet these have Steadfast in them. So I haven't got to Heroic yet, but I'm going to go ahead and send all these through another iteration as well. That one I already did and it produced a common Steadfast queen and we got Valiant Steadfast hybrid drones. So I'm just trusting that down the line that's going to get us to Heroic. Okay, so I'm going to finish up those crosses and we'll go through for one more cycle or 2 and see if we can get to some of our goals. To get to the industrious and the imperial, we're going to have to cross cultivateds with commons. So I've got a bunch of common drones you saw over there, a few commons up here. So we'll set those up after we finish doing these. So let me do what I said and I'll get back to you. Alright, so I went through all of those. In the bottom with this Valiant Steadfast cross, I haven't got to the Heroic bees yet, but I forgot to tell you that those are only found in dungeons. At least the Steadfast are. I'm looking at my little chart here. Where'd they go with the Heroic? The Valiants are found kind of randomly in the random beehives in nature, but the Steadfast we only found in dungeons and special chests around. Like some of them were in those Thaumcraft obsidian pillar things. Anyway, one of the crosses we were doing down there with the commons that had a little modest in them, we got this tropical princess out of it, the tropical modest princess, which is actually a good thing because we needed more tropical. So I'm going to breed her with this tropical drone. Now you see these is where the temperature and humidity really start to come into play, because the forest and the meadows, they all work in the normal biomes like we are now. Let me actually go downstairs real quick and show you. So down here I've made a little chart. I got this straight off Floristar actually. This is there's 2 tolerances that come into play. One is temperature and one is humidity. Ooh, scary sound. So temperature, there's 6 of them. So it goes from icy, cold, normal, warm, hot, and hellish. And humidity, there's 3 of them. It also starts at normal, and well, it doesn't start, but the middle is normal, and up is damp, and down is arid. And in this one, to the left is down, and the right is up. And that comes into play when you see this. You got warm, this tropical drone, which is actually unusual. Oh no, that warm is actually usual, but so its temperature can go both 1. That means up 1 and down 1. So it can go up 1, which is hot, and down 1, which is normal. So we can still do it here in the normal. And then the damp, it wants to be damp, but it can go down 1 as well. So damp, down 1. So it will still work in normal. If it didn't fit work in this biome. I could either go to the biome where it works, but since I'm trying to keep everything here, I can also do it with the acclimatizer. I was trying to work on this wintry queen here. By putting lava buckets in here, I was trying to get her temperature tolerance down. And if you could put ice to bring it up, and then there's water buckets to raise the humidity tolerances, and sand to lower it. And it doesn't always work in those. Luckily, we don't have to use it now, but it's just a random rare chance that it will work. They used to be more consistent, but they did that. They nerfed it so it wouldn't be too OP. Anyway, I'm going to put this tropical modest hybrid queen in here with a purebred tropical drone, and then hopefully we'll be able to keep a tropical princess out of that, and we'll have 4 tropical hives going. Ouch. Okay, so let's go through this one more time. I may need to skip to the end if this takes too long, but this trying to show you a bunch of breeding so you can get the gist of it. This may be really complex and boring for some and really interesting for others. So we've got Meadows Princess, and now we've got a common drone out of this. No, I didn't want to do that. I want to do this. So it looks like we're getting to common with this line. And then over here, yep, we've got common princess. Let's go ahead and put her with the common drone. If I'm not bealizing this because these may or may not be purebred at this point, but we know they have at least one of them in it. This could have one as the inactive, but it's irrelevant as long as we know that since they're not going to have more than these ones are, these could be purebred or hybrid. These are definitely going to be hybrid. Or not, or just all meadows and all forest. We could be looking more at the other traits as well, but can only go so into depth with this. It gets to a certain level of detail. So these ones I'm going to have to look at because I might as well take them all down here because we can't. Oops. Yeah, because we can't see any differences in them. So she is still just meadows and meadows. That one is meadows and meadows, meadows and forest, and meadows and meadows. So we didn't get our results yet with that one, but I'm going to put the one that has meadows and forest in because then we're still at least got a cross going on. If we just do meadows and meadows, nothing is going to happen unless it's a random mutation, which is a very small chance of. This one is going towards cultivated, skipping common. Let's go ahead and look at these 2 drones. This one is cultivated meadows. We got slowest and slower. And this one is cultivated and cultivated, slowest and slower. So let's just go straight to the cultivated and cultivated. So it'll be this one. So let's put that in there. And then we've got a cultivated princess at this point. Don't know. She's cultivated in forest, so we'll have to look at the others and see what they have going on. So of the other ones in here, she's cultivated forest. This one is meadows steadfast. This one still has inactive nocturnal, so I'm going to try to keep that going. I forget if we had that going in this line or not. Let's see what she's got. She doesn't. So we just have it going on in the last of these lines. And I think in the other one down here, the nocturnal trait was in the last 2 of these. So we've got a common princess going on and a cultivated drone. This is already getting to the next step of going towards industrious and imperial. And I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to show you all that today or not. I forgot to put my timer on, but I'm sure this is getting pretty long. But just to tell you, since we're looking at these, you cross a common and a cultivated, and you can either get, that's the start for both the imperial line and the industrial line, which are the basic first goals to get to after common and cultivated. And then there's 3 steps to each of those. To get to the imperial line, you'll get a noble, and then you'll get a majestic, and finally you'll cross that to get an imperial. I think you cross common and cultivated to get noble, cultivated and noble to get majestic, and noble and majestic to get imperial. So yeah, it's a lot to remember, but anyway, that's the path to get from these to that. And you saw how we got to these from meadows and forest. And then the industrious bees, the other main line we're going to after this, you cross common and cultivated to get diligent, cultivated and diligent to get unweary, and diligent and unwearied to get industrious. So it's a long road. I may skip to the end, but I'm going to take you a little bit more through this, and you just see how this goes. So we got, let me see, let's get these guys all out of the way here so that we can check these out and keep them isolated. Basically, she is common and common. So she's pure common. This one is cultivated and common. And we've got a cave trait in there. That's cool as an inactive. And this one is meadows and steadfast. It's holding on to the nocturnal trait. And I could go ahead and keep trying to get the nocturnal into her. Problem is, don't know if we're gonna revert back to meadows or steadfast from that. But so I'm gonna skip the nocturnal for now, because right now to me it's more important to get to the imperial and the industrious. We can work on that later, but I'm gonna keep that aside. I put a little apiary's chest here so that we can get rid of some of these extra guys and go through them later again, but I'm going to just keep that one there for the nocturnal trait. And then let me see, we went through those, and now we got to go through this line. Oh yeah, we started at this end, that's what happened, and go through this one end. And then, yeah, maybe I'll skip a few steps after this. So right now we got forest. Time to analyze all these. So she's forest and steadfast, which means she's got nocturnal in there. This one's just forest and forest. This one's forest and meadows. So we're going to cross her with the forest meadows so that we can keep the crossing going on and hopefully get to either common or cultivated. Alright, 4 more on the line here. We got forest, princess, common, drone. So we already know that common is in this one, so we're just going to go ahead and put that one in there. Keep it simple. And she is forest at this point. We've got a common drone, so let's go ahead and put that one in there. And in here, she's cultivated already. So let's see if she's pure or what's going on with her. She's cultivated and common. Very cool. So we should actually cross her with either a cultivated or a common at this point and see if we can get on down the line. This one is common. And common, let's check out the difference of these two. Actually, let's go ahead. I'll move these out of the way. We'll check all these out real quick, just to be careful. See what she's got. She is pure. That's good. No special traits, but you wouldn't expect that because I didn't introduce that. That one's common in meadows. That one's common in common. So that's the one we want to create a purebred common line out of her. So we've already got to the next step with this one as well. So we need, let me see if we have a pure common. This one she's cultivated common, so we need either a pure common or a pure cultivated to get to the next step with her. So let me see. I think these are all pure, these cultivated. So let's pick one that is fast and make sure that it's fast in the active and inactive. It is. And this is, decent enough for where we're at this point. So let's go ahead and cross this one with that. And we won't see it in the queen, but this could also be taking us down the imperial and the industrious line. So that's a good starter with those. I'm going to go ahead and take them a few more steps down the line because I just don't have the time in this video. I'd love to keep going through it like this with you. Probably more suitable to a stream than what ostensibly should be a 30-minute video. We'll see what this is. I'll take it a few more down the line, and I'll meet you back when I get to something interesting. I'm going to continue cleaning up these cultivateds and commons down here. Already, I forget if I showed you this or not, but with the marbleds, we got to a common queen already, and same with this one. And then I'm going to see if I can get to the heroics with these valiant, steadfast crosses. So don't see it yet in this one. Don't see it yet here. Let's just check them all out real quick, see if we can see if it's got to anything that looks heroic. Some of them haven't finished, some of them have. So no heroics yet out of that, so I'm going to have to cross all those again. Alright, I'll see y'all in a little bit with more results. Some quick results to show you here. I haven't gotten too much farther, but some significant things have happened. Basically, in this one and this one that came from the marbleds, we saw our first appearance of the noble trait. So the marbleds actually got there first before the meadows and the forest. So, but the princess is kind of weird. She's a cultivated modest, so we still got some of that desert bee in her. But we're going to put the common noble in there and see what happens. And the other marbled bee, we got a common marbled princess out of it, and then a marbled cultivated and a cultivated common. So going to go ahead and keep that going right there. Up here on our top layer, let's see, let's start on this end. We've got a cultivated steadfast hybrid, so she's got the nocturnal still in her. We're going to go ahead and use some of the results of our breeding 2 levels down where we're cleaning up our cultivated. So we've got shorter life, fast worker cultivated drones, which is pretty good so far. I'm going to put those in there, and we're going to ignore those tropical stinging us. Again, we're going to use one of our drones that we've improved to be a fast worker. So we're going to get some fast cultivateds out of these. This one is still refusing to go that way. I'm going to give it it's a meadows forest. I'm going to give it this common forest here to try to get it there faster. This one, we've got a forest princess who, just for giggles, let's see what she's got. She's just forest and forest. So she's not she's still purebred forest, but we've got a cultivated drone here, so let's go ahead and put that in. And then this one, she's cultivated, and there's common, so we're already doing our cross towards either noble or I gotta look it up again real quick. Diligent, which are again our first steps towards imperial and industrious. So yeah, and down here we've got common and common going on. So I'm just going to take a risk, throw one in there, and we've got cultivated, and then I need to find a good. So we got a cultivated common. So I need to find a good another cultivated common drone to put in here. Let me see. Our princess is forest, but we've got a common drone in here. I just want to take that out. So let's go ahead and put the common drone back in, and then over here, forest princess, common drone. Okay. We looked at these marbles already. So just to finish this one up, the princess with the cultivated common, she's gonna, from my previous breeding, I'm gonna give her a common drone, which is common cultivated, so just the opposite. and let's see what comes out of that. Meanwhile, our tropical modest hybrid queen I don't know if I didn't notice before or this has happened after a couple generations, because this one is on automatic piping. It's become a hostile environment. And this is because the damp is up one. We need damp down one or both one. I'm not sure if I didn't notice that before or if that's come, but that needs to be fixed. So we need to go ahead and take her and put her in the acclimatizer with some sand, which I don't know if I have any on me. We can go ahead and forget about her for now. Put her in there, and we'll get a random chance of getting her humidity tolerance going down. Maybe I have some in here. Let's see. Nope, I'll have to get some sand. I'll be back. So I got it, and with this, all you gotta do, to reduce to lower the humidity tolerance, make it go down, you put some sand in here, and the little world goes across, which is kind of weird because this Minecraft world doesn't have these continents of our world at all. But what the heck, still a nice graphic, and it's gonna take a while before it goes down, but I'll let you know if it does. While that's happening, up here I wanted to show that this one had already got to a purebred cultivated princess as well, and I went ahead and got some common drones from previously, and we're going to go ahead and do the cultivated common cross again, and then I'll go back and see what's happening with that acclimatizer. I just let that whole stack go through there, and damp is still up one, so there's no guarantee that it's going to work. I have seen it work though, so I know it can. I'll go ahead and put some more sand in here. It's using some power, but it's not too bad. It's only 2.5 MJ per tick, so we can go ahead and let this keep going and see if we can get it damp both one. And again, have worked up from the meadows in the forest to purebred common princess, and across her with a cultivated drone, fast worker, shorter life. So we're moving up quite a bit, and I don't know how long this episode has gone. It's pretty involved, but you can see what I've set up here allows for extensive amount of breeding going on at once, just going around doing all this. So anyway, I'm going to keep going with it, and we'll see where the episode is. And hey, we got some success over here with this tropical queen. The damp is now both one. It only took about a stack and a half of sand. Not quite, but pretty close. So we can go ahead and put her back in her apiary with a purebred tropical drone. And hopefully we'll end up with another purebred line of tropical bees. I went and made another indexer. So that I'm getting so many different kinds of drones from all this that I need something I can put them all in so that I can sort them, because it's just getting too complicated in this apiarist chest to be able to go through all these and know what's going on. So I'm going to move them all to the indexer for better sorting. And there it is. After another time or two around, we've got a cultivated diligent. So that's the first step on our line to industrious bees. So we're moving along. And here in the same hive, the princess is noble. So we've got one step towards industrious and one step towards imperial from the same hive. We're just turned those meadows and forests into commons and cultivated. And then by back crossing them again and again, we're starting to get to the next stages. So that's pretty exciting. Since the princess has noble in her, I went and got a drone from my previous playing around that also has noble in it. And I'm going to try to isolate or create a purebred out of the noble aspect. And our created tropical queen that came from the marbled modest is now a purebred tropical queen with lots of good tolerance, so I think we'll be able to keep that going. I've started mixing up this line of cultivated that we were purifying here, So this one I put one of the noble, and we'll see when it comes out, but some of the nobles and diligence that be coming up of the drones that I didn't have a place to fit with the queens up here, I've been starting to mix with these. And now our nice cultivated princesses, I'm going to mix with some of these common cultivated fast worker drones. Let's do that again with this one. How about give that, and start to really get moving towards the imperial and the industrious. So we've got shorter, shorter, fast, fast, moving towards slow. So these are all pretty good. Definitely getting some good cultivated line going on here. And yep, that's the end of that. And we got another noble. We're getting there. So let's put that back in with this princess. Meanwhile, I haven't had any luck with the Valiant Steadfast crosses. I keep crossing them and recrossing them, keep mixing the traits, and I'm looking now on the chart that I'm using, and it says it has to be done in a forest biome. So I guess this autumn biome may not count as a forest biome. So I'm going to let these be for now. I may try recrossing them a few more times, but I'm going to let this go for this episode because it doesn't look like the heroic's going to happen. Because if it was, I think it would have by now. We'll see, but yeah, let that go and just see if we can get to an imperial or industrious real quick. So I'm going to try to get us there, and hopefully we'll be able to end the episode with that. So here's an interesting cross. We've got a cultivated noble hybrid and a common noble hybrid. So we're crossing cultivated and common again, and we're potentially pure breeding the noble. Once we get a purebred noble, we'll be able to then breed that back with the cultivated, and then we'll get to the majestic, and then a noble and a majestic will become an imperial. And hey, we got our first majestics. Ooh, nice color. I like it. A nice maroon or vermilion. And that came from the ones that we put in the line of the our cultivated strain here. The problem with doing this, I don't remember exactly the crosses I'm doing this, but they're all headed towards it. So that is progress. And upon analyzing them, we've got majestic, noble, majestic, noble. So this may very well lead to the imperial bees, because that's the final cross we need to do to get to imperial. So we'll see. Got to keep our eye on this one. Third from the left, fourth row down. Need a way to mark these. Eventually I'll put signs on them and stuff, but anyway, I'll be able to tell just by that. Oh, and we need to make it daytime. Ooh, and looky here, our very first full noble ones. Let's see what they look like when analyzed. This is getting awesome. Let me see, we got, alright, she's noble, noble. And this, he's noble, 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 noble. Alright, so we've got purebred nobles. So let's keep that going. I'm going to move it back one over so I don't have a gap here. And actually, I'll leave it here because this actually came from the marbled ones. So let's leave it here to keep track. That one is fast worker, short life. Fast worker, short life. Let's see if there's an advantage one over the other. Short, short, fast, slower, slower, slow. Short, short. I think that one had a fast in there, so let's do that one. That's the good one. Yep. Okay. Awesome. And this is still good for creating another line as well. And these have noble as well, so we're really getting there with the imperial line and with the industrious.